Hey everybody, welcome back to the cafe. So obviously, as you notice, that once again I am outside. It was almost like it felt like such a nice day. I kind of had to come do today's video outside. Wow, I hate my stutter. So anyway, today I am focusing on updating my Exodia deck. I mentioned it before in the past for my original first video of back when I was introducing the channel, and although I did like that, I definitely did not feel like looking back at it the best way. It went very well, and the deck has changed a significant amount, even in those short few months, simply with nothing to do due to the COVID-19 lockdown. But with at least in Massachusetts, the opening being on the 28th, that means that our freedom is near pinches away, which also means that the local card shops are going to be opening. So I've been experimenting with variables on my main Exodia deck. As everybody knows, I love Exodia. Even if it's terrible in the format, I'm always try to find a way to run Exodia. So I thought this would be a great time to take an actual genuine look at my Exodia deck. This is obviously not the finished product. This is what I'm working on right now, and I'm going to even talk about some of my ideas for how I can make the deck better. But this is the variable that I'm experimenting with right now that seems to be working the best. Obviously, this video is purely for not just my own criticism to look back at like how I'm evolving, but get some criticism of you guys of what you think of the deck and how you're going to be doing it. Oh yeah, one more thing. A buddy of mine, Tyler, I'm going to be leaving the description to his channel below. He does a lot of music. Make sure you go show him some love. Hashtag build each other up. Anyway, but he has also put together some deck lists, and he wanted me to upload them on his behalf since it doesn't really fit with his channel. So he's going to be taking over for a few videos here and there. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be doing of other people running the channel, but I don't know how well you guys know the channel. I'm going to be posting this a lot of Facebook communities, but Tyler's a great guy. I love playing with him. He's a chill dude. Like I said, go him some love and support. But he's going to be taking over a few videos for me, and that's going to be an experiment. We're going to see how that goes about. Also, in addition, I'm also thinking about offering to Tim and the other member PCG players to see if they want to perhaps make their own videos. So again, we're going to use Tyler as in a sense of like, I'm really excited to see some of his deck lists. He's very good at, he's much better than I am at Yu-Gi-Oh, that's for sure. But I digress. So we're going to use that as an experiment. We're going to see if other people like it when other people run and makes their own videos sometimes. We're going to see, is that good? Is that bad? We'll have some fun with that. We'll experiment. So, yeah, was there anything else I wanted to know? Nope, that should be all. So this is, of course, this deck is going by the June 2020 ban list, which, let's be real, that wasn't a ban list. That was a unban list. That was awful. Good God, that was such a letdown. But I digress. I think I've wasted enough of you guys' time. Let's get into the deck. I'm gonna lower the camera a little bit so you can see just want to make sure you can see everything on the thing I can see. Oh, hold on, I think it needs to be a little lower, but besides that, it's all actually a little higher. So here you can see it. I have my main deck, the extra deck, and the side deck. I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to focus on the main deck to start. So obviously it's an Exodia deck. We're running the 5 pieces of Exodia, or of course I'm running the Lost Art variants of Exodia pieces, just because I think they look so cool. I love the Lost Art. I think this looks so cool. I sunk a ton of money into making sure I could buy all of these. I love these so much. And oh no, cards everywhere. Ah, damn it. Oh God, that's why you can't. That's why you don't see Yu-Gi-Oh videos outside. Oh damn. So yep, right now, so I got the main Exodia pieces. Of course, it's an Exodia deck. It should be expected that you gotta run the 5 pieces, because, you know, it's kind of a big part of the deck. I don't actually go for the Exodia win con a lot. Like, I do kind of want to focus a little more where I can use the Exodia win con. But for the most part, this deck mainly wins by beatdown. It's mainly summoning out these pieces. And I'll show you how I really do that. Next, I run 3 copies of the legendary Exodia Incarnate. Level 10 monster. Stupidly easy to summon out. Special summon it from your hand by attributing a Forbidden One monster you control. It's unaffected by other cards' effects, so it has massive protection, like boatloads. And I'm gonna do it like organized, like they do on the other channels. Anyway, so stupid boatloads of protection. Gets 1,000 attack for every Forbidden One monster in your grave. During the end phase, you have to target a Forbidden One monster in the grave and return to your hand. So you can slowly build back that win con. And if the card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can reveal all Forbidden One monsters in your hand and draw cards equals the number of cards you revealed. So that's honestly, I think, probably a really good thing to focus on. It's free. It comes with draw power, recovery, and as massive protection. Next, 3 copies of Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. I experimented with 2, but this deck definitely works best at 3. You want to see him in your opening hand, you want to see him in your opening hand, you want to draw into him, you want basically that most of the game. Special summon him from your hand by shuffling all monster cards in your graveyard back into your deck, so it's a stupidly easy level 10 monster. I'm shocked more decks don't run Exodius as just a extender, honestly. Like, I could totally see more decks getting away with using him as an extender. But I digress. Special summon from your hand, shuffling all materials back into your deck. Gets 1,000 attack for every normal monster in your grave. When he declares an attack, you send a monster from your hand or deck to the grave. And the piece of resistance. If there are 5 Forbidden One monsters with different names are in the graveyard due to his effect, you win the duel. You're very rarely going to go for the Exodius win condition. Like, it's there if you can use it, but let's be real, at that point, you probably have a better chance at winning just by winning. So, yeah, you're rarely, if ever, going to go for the Exodius win condition. I think I've used it once. So, but it's mainly good for getting your pieces back into your deck, and it's good for combo extenders. And moving on to the next one, I run 3 copies of Treasure Panda. Treasure Panda, I think, is super underrated after playing around with it. Like, I played with it on Duel Links, and no, I'm convinced that's a genuinely good card. So, what it can do is you can banish up to 3 spell traps from the grave, and summon a normal monster from your deck whose level is equal to the number of cards you banish by his effect. But again, it can only be a 1 through 3, but even still, it summons out normal monsters, snap of a finger. So I think that's very good for getting out Exodia pieces quickly. And yeah, that's the main gist with him. Moving on, I downed it to 1 copy of Spellbook Magician of Prophecies. When this card is normal or flip summoned, you can search your deck for any spellbook card. That's just very good for the spellbook engine I'm running in here for the deck thinning and draw power. Phantom of Chaos. Banish a monster from an effect monster from the grave, and until the end phase, that basically becomes the monster. It gains attack and defense equal to its attack and defense. It gains its effects, and its name is treated as that monster's name. So that's very good for getting some, and that's very easy for some other things. Here's the one that I'm debating, because I wanted to run 3, but it doesn't work as well as I thought it would. 1 copy of Witch of the Black Forest. This card is sent from the, it's a spellcaster, so that's really helpful, but if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can search your deck for a monster with 1,500 or less defense points. Place that card in your hand. I'm debating on that because, again, it can be a bit of a brick as well. That's the only problem with it. Like, the way that I seem to use it best is with another card in here, that lets me sacrifice the spellcaster, draw 2 with my spellbook engine, and then I sacrifice that, draw 2, and then I get to search, so it's pretty much a free +2. Problem with it though is that then you need to summon into Treasure Panda, because Treasure Panda is like the most important monster in this deck. You need to summon into Treasure Panda, or else you're not getting jack squat. That's it for the monster cards. Look into the spells. Right now I'm running 3 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge. You can either discard a spellbook card with a different name from your hand, or sacrifice a face-up spellcaster you control to draw 2 cards. So that's very good with combining with Witch of the Black Forest, or it lets you normal summon into Prophecies and search out the next card of the engine. 2 copies of Spellbook of Secrets. I tried running it at 1. I think it works more effective at 2, because even still you can search it very easily, or you can get lucky enough to have it on your opening hand, and you can use it to get into your free Spellbook of Knowledge. If you can avoid Magician, do so. Again, just because of the normal summon restriction. It's also just good to have for it's also good to have to get a spell quickly to the graveyard so that you can take advantage of Treasure Panda. One of the best things to do, I think, is implying that oh, I'll show you the combo later. 2 copies of Unexpected Die. I tried running this at 3. It's a bit of a brick, though. It can be a bit of a brick, though, outside of turn 1. So you definitely want to see Unexpected Die. That's a very good card in the opening hand. Here's the 1-drops that I run into the deck are Upstart Goblin. Speaks for itself. It makes any 40-card deck a 39-card deck. This is one that I'm kind of debating on, of Card of Fate. It came with Dual Overload, and I really like this card, actually. What it does is, you pick 1 card from your deck, and your opponent gets to pick a card from their deck. Both set that card aside. Then you pick 4 cards at random from your opponent's deck, and your opponent picks 4 cards at random from your deck. And you randomly select one of the chosen cards to add. Each player randomly selects one of the chosen cards to add to their hand. So it's a bit of a problem that it can let your opponent search their deck for any card, but it also lets you search your deck for any card, which, honestly speaking, if you search your deck for any card, that can be, honestly speaking, it may not matter what your opponent searches if you really get what you're wishing for. But again, you really have to kind of hope on luck there. I like this card personally, but this could definitely go if it had to. I just think it's neat. I think it's a cool card. Personally, if I'm saying a better card, I'd say either 1 for 1, or it's because of all the level 1 monsters in here, or I'd say 1 day apiece, because this is primarily a going first deck. But 1 day apiece is good for, basically, you get to draw 1, but your problem is your opponent also gets to draw 1, which is never good. And it does protect you, however, from any damage on your opponent's turn, so you don't have to worry about FTK. So you no longer have to worry about FTK, but even still, it's kind of a problem. So I don't know, really. I'd say Card of Fate right now seems like the best option, but I'm still debating on what would be better to place in. 1 Monster Reborn, speaks for itself. Reasoning. There really is kind of no consequence to Reasoning, in my opinion, right now. Obviously, most of the time they are going to choose, if they know the deck, most of the time I've noticed they choose level 1, which tends to work out for me because monsters in the graveyard still help the cause of the deck. It also helps get spells and traps quickly into the graveyard. Yes, we do run traps, I'll get into that. So really it's a win-win. I think my favorite version of this that I've ever pulled off was this, and I managed to pull into Treasure Panda, so that after sending like 8 or 9 spell/traps to the grave. So that was pretty helpful. Dark Factory Mass Production. I can target 2 normal monsters in the grave and return them to your hand. I'm thinking about running this at 2. I think this would be a little better at 2. In my personal opinion. Foolish Burial, it's really just an easy spell card and gets any monsters to the grave, which can kick off Exodia, can help out Treasure Panda, and thins the deck a little bit so you're not as likely to draw into what you don't need, or it can help your chance of drawing what you need. That's it for the spell cards. Moving on to my traps, I'm running 3 copies of Obliterate. Obliterate is a great card to see on your opening hand. You want to see that on your opening hand because it's such a helpful card. You send any Forbidden One monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and then you can target 1 monster on the field and return it to the owner's hand. Or extra deck in the chance of that situation. It's a hard once per turn, but even still, it's such a good card for Exodia decks. I think Exodia decks need to run this. Need to run this. Even if you're going for the Mystic Mine Exodia win condition, need. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Pay half your life points to negate. And finally, 3 copies of Solemn Strike. That's really going to be it. That's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So this, I've already decided is staying. It's just until I get back to work. Unfortunately, I can't really afford to replace it. So, number XX, Utopic Dark Infinity. It's 2 level 10 monsters. You can gain life points equal to a special. Once per turn, you can target a normal monster, special summoned monster you control, and gain life points equal to its original attack. Not bad. Once per turn, when this card destroys an opponent, if this card, what is it? You can remove an overlay to target a monster that's been destroyed this turn. Special summon it in defense position, but it cannot declare an attack this turn. That's it for the Xyz. What I want to replace that with, the Super Dreadnoughts. You only need 1 of them, so... But obviously you gotta have Juggernaut, which you need a rank 10, and I don't know which one that I'm going to go for. Anyway, let's look at the rest. Next we have Relinquished Anima, came with Dual Overload. I had to trade J Wavy for this card, link in the description. Link Haribo, just required a level 1 monster. And finally, Link Spider. Link Spider, I think, is the most helpful of all of these. Like, these are good just for getting them in the graveyard, but this... Oh, this is so nice. What this does is, it requires a normal monster summon, and once per turn, you can special summon a normal monster, a level 4 lower normal monster from your hand to a zone it points to. So, summon it right here, beginning of the game, link 1 into 1, and then right here, summon out another one of the Exodia pieces. Roxy Dragon, it's just generic 2 monsters to summon. Next we have my Nightmare engine of Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, and my link for Nightmare Griffin. Griffin I run in here because I have a good amount of traps, so I can recover those with Griffin if I really need to, like say one of my Obliterates. Cerberus deals with a card on the field, gives me draw power. All of them are draw power, but Phoenix deals with back row, and Cerberus deals with special summon monsters, so those both can be very helpful. I have won games because of just those monsters alone. One of my favorites, the Trigate Wizard. It has an effect based on how many monsters it's co-linked to, but it's also very easy to summon. You can either, a monster co-linked to it can, a monster points to, has its attack in the, has any damage dealt to the opponent during the battle phase is doubled. 2 co-links, target 1 card, once per turn you can target a card on the field and banish it. And if it has 3 co-links, once per turn, if a card effect activates, you can negate the activation and banish that card. And my final link 3 in here is Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. It's just an easy monster to summon out, and its effect that gives it protection is also very easy to get out because, again, just a level 7 or any level 7 or higher monster. making as a result that anything like Exodia or Incarnate could be summoned into it, could turn it into that, and it's very good for just banishing a card on the field, which can pull off the FTK. So you use a Skull Dread. You are going to use Skull Dread a lot in this deck. You can either, so it's mainly for the 4 ability that draw 4 cards and place 3 cards from your hand to the bottom of the deck. In any order you please. I don't think I need to explain to anybody why draw 4 cards is a good ability, even if you have to return 3 cards in your hand. Still, Graceful Charity was draw 3 and discard 2. Topological Zerberos, it gets an additional 100 attack. Is it 100 attack or 300? I don't remember. 200s. I was close. It's an additional 200 attack for every banished card. But if a monster is special, you can abuse that one of 2 ways. Well, obviously a lot of banishing thanks to Treasure Panda and Exodius. Alright, forgot about that. Exodius's drawback is if it's sent from the field to the if it would be sent from the field to the grave, I have to banish it instead. But I digress. So Zerberos gets an additional 200 boost for every banished card, and there's 1 of 2 ways you can abuse it. 1, if a monster is special summoned to a zone it points to, banish all cards on the field. And 2, if you, what was the other drawback? Oh, sorry. You cannot summon monsters to extra monster zones that it points to. So you can also block your opponent out from link summoning. It won't block them out. MR4 would block them out from the extra deck, which was a lot better, honestly, but... So this will outright just block out your opponent from using link monsters, as long as you don't have something in one of your monster zones that, like Saryuja, that points to their zone. Oh yeah, sorry, Saryuja's other ability that's really good is the 3 ability that once per turn special summon a monster from your hand. Borreload and the Boral Sword Dragons. Mainly, they're easy. Honestly, I feel personally they're easy to summon out. They have really good abilities, especially with Sword, being able to change a monster to defense and attack twice. Jesus Christ. And Borreload being able to gain control of a monster. That is it for the extra deck. Let's move on to the precious sideboard. Ooh, we all love the side. Or side deck, sorry. Sideboard is a magic term, I believe. Anyway, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, everybody knows this card. Discard it from your hand, stop your opponent from sending a card from deck to grave, special summoning from the deck, or adding cards from deck to hand. Which, I mainly say that for a lot of deck, for if I face decks that are heavy on going second. Because those can be a huge pain in the keister, so yeah, I deal with those. 3 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being. If your opponent summons at least 5 monsters, you can special summon this card during their main phase by attributing as many monsters as they control, and if you do, they get a token with those monsters' total attack. This is a great card, especially with Obliterate in the deck. If you can opening hand this with Obliterate, yeah, this can be a bit of a brick, I know, but still. You can open up with this and Obliterate, you're set. Game's yours. 2 copies of Effect Veiler. I rarely ever use this. This is just for very monster-heavy decks, honestly. And I tend to feel like it helps out a lot. Necroface. When you summon this card, it shuffles all monsters they control. It shuffles all, or places all. Does it place the banished monster? It places the banished monsters either in the grave or back into the deck. I gotta read this. When this card's normal summon shuffled, I'll remove from play cards into their owner's deck. This card gains 100 attack for each of those cards. When this card is removed from play, both players remove the top 5 cards of the deck from play. So you don't have to worry about it getting banished too much, but it shuffles all banished cards back into the deck, which can be very helpful, especially if you slip up and banish one of your Exodia pieces, because although you're not too concerned about the win con, you don't want to banish your Exodia pieces, because that's 1,000 points taken away from Incarnate. And it also takes away the opportunity to ever take advantage of the Exodia win con. And the final thing, yeah, I only run 10 extra deck, or side deck. Twin Twisters. Discard a card from your hand to target 2 back row and pop them. That is it for the sideboard. So that's the whole deck. Alright, so that's what I've got right now. Obviously, I think it still needs some work. It works well, I think, and I can even show you actually, I can even show you a few combos that at least I tend to take advantage of a lot of the time. Where is it? So the big things that are really, like, important in this deck are, I was saying earlier, but a lot of it is very circumstantial of Treasure Panda is a good card. You always want treasure in your opening hand. I'd say the cards that I really hope to get in the opening hand are next using Reasoning as an example, and using, I'm going to say Upstart because why not, and Secrets. Let's use those as examples. And let's place, where is it? This is implying that the circumstances are perfect, but this is entirely implying the circumstances are perfect. Implying that you go first, you can play into Reasoning, say they call level 1, summon into Witch. Secrets will search you into, where is it? Search you into Knowledge. And use, oh wait, no, that's an attack. Knowledge to get you into 2 cards. And, oh, actually, I should play this almost like a real deal. So obviously you draw into 2. Then with Witch, because of its effect, you get to search into a monster from your extra. You get to search your monster with 0 or less, or 1500 less defense. Search into Incarnate. Upstart to draw a card. You can't use Spellbook again. It's just hard once per turn. That's the only deal. Normal summon Panda. Use Panda's effect to banish. Searching into a limb of Exodia. Banish. To search into another one. And well, we know where this is going. Search into those 3 pieces of the Forbidden One. And then the last 2 cards. Wait. Nope, only banishing 3 cards. It doesn't matter, but still. Link this off as 1, and you'd link into, and I'd link the top card of my deck into the grass. Great Scott. Spider, who would let you summon that out. From there you can link 4? Actually wait, no, don't link 4 yet. First, sack the 1 into Incarnate. Then you link 4! So yeah, you'd want to link 4 into... What the hell are you? Obviously, you could link summon into Saryuja. Take advantage of Saryuja's effect of, what are these? Oh, these are banished, that's right. Saryuja's effect to draw 4 cards. Oh, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, then just place 3 to the bottom of your deck in any order you please. In this situation, this is a hard choice, actually. At the same time, not really, because you only have one other spell card in your grave. So you should always pay attention to what's in your grave once you get to this point. Obviously, secrets is no loss. I think right now would probably be an okay time to try and go for the Exodia win con. This would be the best time I'd say go for it. If not, that can go. So mainly what I'd say here is mainly get rid of these two. So those would go to the bottom. Using Karn's effect to return to hand, so our usual effect is special summon, and then you can link that off into, where are you, Linkaribo? Linkaribo. Oh yeah, plus I only opened up with 4 cards, so in theory you do have another one in hand, so obviously if it was a monster card, yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, basically you can summon into that. You can set 2 back row. Wait. 4. I like to make sure it's not aligned with anything. I have my reasons. And boom, that's your turn. Which, honestly, I think that was... A lot of players who probably go to, like, YCS and shit probably are saying, like, what the hell are you doing? No, I think that's a really good... I think that's a good opener. I think that's a great opener alone for 4,000 attack and can't be touched by anything. Plus, that Obliterate on the field will return a monster to the hand and bring him to 5,000. If something really can't beat that... You can also sack your Linkaribo to make an attacking monster 0 till the end of turn. And just your Saryuja to even power up your Linkaribo. It won't power up Legendary Incarnate because of Carnet's protection. Unaffected by any card effects at all is a good ability, but also has its drawbacks. Plus, you also have, I forgot, you also have your negation on the board. But that is a complete, honestly, that's like, again, that's a perfect opener, in my opinion. That would be, that's like if you have the perfect opener. Honestly, results may vary. So honestly, what do you guys think of the deck? Let me know, honestly, what do you guys think of this deck? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think I could make better about it? Do any of my suggestions you think work? Do you personally run something similar that you have your own reasons for? Or why or why not would you not run this deck? Why would you run this deck? Why not? You know, my generic question. The question, okay, question of the day. What would you do with this deck personally? Let me know in the comments below. I love to read those. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you're seeing and you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video specifically, I'd love it if you hit that like. If you like video, and if you want to watch them, if you like this video specifically, I'd love it if you click that like, and make sure you share it with your friends if you think your friends will enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I'll see you the next time. Have a good one.